I would like to tell you a little something about Admiral Spruance, if you're interested. Of course, I have known him a good many years. I was back in '34 when Admiral Watson had the destroyer's scouting force. I was a lieutenant and his flag lieutenant. And Admiral Spruance was then a captain and was chief of staff. He was the same then as he was on the Indianapolis. He never worked sitting down. He always stood up at a desk. He had it on the destroyer. He had to cross the bunk. If he wasn't standing up working, he was out walking. And the staff used to say, who's got to go ashore and walk with Admiral Spruance today? Because he can walk any of them to death. And they would shake dice to see who was the guy that had to wear out his pair of shoes today.
Hello, I'm Spruance Holscher, granddaughter of Admiral Raymond Spruance. For much of World War II, the Indianapolis was his flagship. This photograph was taken by Alfred Joseph Sedivi, Petty Officer Second Class, the photographer on the Indianapolis. Only recently did I discover that my father, Captain Edward Spruance, had served on the Indianapolis after graduating from the United States Naval Academy. Skip McCall, son of survivor Don McCall, and may I add, a student of history, was instrumental in alerting the reunion committee that the family of Admiral Spruance could well be interested in the reunions. Peggy McCall Campo reached out to the Spruance descendants in 2013, and since attending my first reunion in 2014, it has been a wonderful experience to get to know the families of Indianapolis's final crew, families of the lost at sea, the survivors and their families, and the families of the rescuers. At my first reunion in 2014, it was simply overwhelming to have Don McCall share with me his various interactions with my grandfather on board Indianapolis. And there would be more stories and tales from others with each reunion. The conversations and moments spent with the Indianapolis family have meant a great deal to me. The reunions have brought together many individuals and organizations with a connection to the Indianapolis. And being together and hearing the stories and seeing the excellent programs has been truly wonderful and important. It will always be meaningful to honor and remember the men lost at sea, the survivors, and their rescuers. The story of Indianapolis is one of service and sacrifice, and it is as important today as it was 75 years ago. Thank you.
Greetings, family and friends of USS Indianapolis. My name is David Spruance Bogart. My connection with the ship is through my grandfather, Admiral Raymond A. Spruance, my father's mother. During World War II, he chose the Indianapolis as his flagship when he was commanding the Fifth Fleet. He reportedly favored the ship because of her speed and maneuverability, and I like to think that he also appreciated her name, since he spent much of his childhood in Indianapolis, Indiana. He had to give up using Indy as his flagship when she was damaged by a kamikaze off Okinawa in March of 1945. That damage required Indy to return to Mare Island in the U.S. for repairs, which made her available for the secret mission to deliver atom bomb components to Tinian, followed by her fateful voyage to Leyte, which ended in the tragedy we honor every year at the USS Indianapolis Survivors Reunion. I started attending the Survivors Reunion in 2014 after the McCall family located my cousin, Spruance Holscher, and invited our family to become involved with the organization and its reunions. Ellen and I have attended every reunion since 2020, and this would have been our 7th. We regret that we are not able to connect with the survivors and our Indy friends in person this year, but we are glad that the Survivors Organization has put together this virtual program so that we can remember the sacrifice and heroism of the ship's final crew on this 75th anniversary of her sinking. Before becoming involved with the Survivors Reunion, I had read Dan Kurtzman's Fatal Voyage and had heard from my father, a PBY squadron commander during the war, about the secret delivery of bomb components to Tinian. But I did not fully appreciate my connection to the ship until my first reunion in 2014. Since then, I've learned so much about the full story of the ship, and I've been able to hear from survivors about their personal interactions with my grandfather aboard the ship, which is very special to me. The welcome Ellen and I have received from the Indy family is heartwarming, and we are so impressed by the dedication of those who work hard to make these reunions successful and rewarding. What is most inspiring about the reunions is the survivors themselves, who as young men were thrown into an untenable situation in the water and somehow survived the ordeal. But let's not forget their shipmates, who either went down with the ship or succumbed to the horrendous conditions in the water. And of course, we remember the rescuers who came to their aid when their time was running out. To all the USS Indianapolis family, I wish you well, and hope for an in-person gathering in Indianapolis next summer.